The record. Okay.
So
Yeah, yeah. No, just curious how things are going. I do have. Oh, I do have maybe some good news. I got in touch with a former colleague at Adobe,
uh-huh.
Lit Bachandani. He's a general manager now, so he's up there in the hierarchy. And I asked him to look into open sourcing at least the Lingo engine.
Hmm.
Uh, so I'm waiting to hear back from him, but I spoke to him on Tuesday.
That's
So
cool.
yeah,
That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
so
Wow.
fingers crossed, knock on wood. Well,
No, it's not wood in your case. Okay, so
it's a
yeah.
pretty interesting background you have there. Is that real? Are you out, or is that a picture, Eugene? Your background.
Oh, this is real.
Oh, it's
This is
wow, beautiful.
this is where I live.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I love the flowers.
Yeah. I also love those.
Yes.
Oh, but probably because we are in Netherlands. This is one of the typical Netherlands things you can see. For instance, let me show you.
Oh yeah, nice. Okay, so that's your private backyard.
Yeah, so it's an old, like we are doing construction now, but I'm showing you the bicycle, which is in flowers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's an old one, which is broken, but we decided to reuse it as a prop. Yeah.
That makes sense. I just got a used bike from my brother that I have to put. But I'll give you, one of these days I'll be able to do it from our backyard. So I'm in the flatlands of Brooklyn, so it's a little different. It's New York technically, but where we are is all single family homes. So it's actually, I'm quite happy here because it's very safe, minimal social contact, so I'm happy, happy and safe.
That's nice. And shopping via Amazon, probably, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yes, just to catch up, just to see.
Yeah.
I did your website and see some progress, but it'd be good to
yeah.
hear.
Yeah, we do. But let me first give space to Nathan to introduce himself.
Okay.
Like, what is he doing and how is he doing? Yeah, Nathan.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Nathaniel. I'm going to be a senior math major. This is my first summer doing Google Summer of Code. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, this is my first summer doing Google Summer of Code. I'm sure Eugene remembers, like, a few days before the deadline, I emailed him. I was like, my internship got canceled because of coronavirus. I'm going to apply last minute to GSOC. And so I did, because I was interested, definitely, in Director. I haven't done as much with it as Dylan has. It was mostly kind of just realizing what the engine was that some of the old games that I enjoyed, including Warlock, was actually. So that was actually last summer when I kind of made that discovery. But this summer, I wound up getting accepted for that, and so I have been working on the rendering pipeline. Let's see here.
And where are you going to school?
I'm at Liberty University in Virginia.
Virginia. Okay.
Yes. And I'm looking at Lehigh for grad school, probably industrial engineering.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh. Lehigh, that's in Pennsylvania, right?
Yes, Bethlehem.
Okay.
Yes. Let's see. All right, so I can share my screen to give some examples of what we've been working on. I haven't used Skype very much at all. Where's the share screen option?
I think it's at the bottom right with the 3 dots.
Okay, let's see. Take snapshot.
For me, it's 2 squares.
Yes, 2 squares.
Ah, yes. Okay. Let's see. I shall share my screen. All right. So can you guys see?
Yes.
Can you guys see my most recent blog post now?
Mm-hmm.
It should say a third of the way down here. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so actually I don't want to show that quite yet, so I'm going to get to that in a minute. So over the past week or so, I worked on a major refactoring of, well, I guess a second refactoring of our rendering pipeline. The first time I tried to, so initially, a long time ago, before GSOC started, what we were doing was we're essentially clearing the screen every frame and then redrawing everything. And then like having a bunch of extra surfaces on the back for transitions and trails of sprite things and things like that. But of course, that's not efficient, and in terms of processing or memory. And so the idea was to move to dirty rectangle-based handling, so my first iteration of that, which I actually did before GSOC started in May, was to essentially have a mask, so a pixel-wise dealing, marking all the dirty pixels as we work through the sprites that need to be updated, and then rendering that way, because that would give a nice integration, like if we had matte inks, for instance, or even the mask ink. It seemed like it would work, but I just ran into so many problems along the way, and I eventually decided that it was best to just move to a traditional dirty rectangle-based handling, where we say, okay, this is the part of the screen that changed, here are all the sprites that are in there, so we have to redraw that whole section. And I just pushed those updates a couple of days ago, and that gave us, according to our build bot, like about 25% performance improvement on some of our more complicated movies, like Warlock, for instance. That's what one of our other guys, Roland, was saying. And so I pulled up my blog here because some of the other work I did as a part of that was implementing all of the ink types.
Yes.
I can actually pull up some code here. I can perhaps make it a little bigger so I can illustrate what I'm doing. Here we go. So before, in our rendering pipeline, we were drawing drawing sprites more shape-wise. That is, we were using some of ScumVM's own backend blitting functions, kind of overloading those in different ways to be able to get some of the inks implemented. But I eventually realized when I was working on this refactoring that it was a lot easier if we did what Director probably did in the first place, and to draw the inks pixel-wise. So, and that's what this function here that we have called InkDrawPixel does. There's just a humongous switch statement that performs some bitwise operations on the source and destination colors to get the ink effect that we want. Now, this isn't quite right yet, particularly because the color depths aren't quite working out. And that was the problem I was encountering with a test movie for different ink types that I made. So with the refactoring, it isn't quite working. But this is partly refactored, this video that I made for my blog, my GSOC blog. And so this kind of shows what we have going here, if it'll play. So, we have the mask ink there, we have some reverse, and we have like not copy up there. This is sped up too, actually, because it was really, really slow. I think it sped up like 3 times almost. It was really slow with our old pipeline. But we can see that lots of the bitwise operations that I did have implemented were working pretty well. So, yeah, there's my piano, some of my piano videos there. If you like soft piano music, you should check out my YouTube channel. Let's see. So what I still have to do to get that movie working again is, as I said, look at color depths more, and also account for mask and matte inks better. And one of our long-standing tasks is getting reverse ink working across color depths. That's been like a comment to do in our code since before I started GSOC. Okay. And so I've also been working on transitions. I spent a long time this morning, way too long than I should have, getting clipped area transitions working. So, not having to work across the whole stage. And then let's see, some of the other rendering updates I've done recently. So the biggest thing about my refactoring was, Dylan will talk about this more too, because he's done major refactoring as well. In this middle window here, I have a new stage class that we made. Before, like our score class was kind of handling all of the rendering type stuff, in addition to so many other things. But I realized that's just getting really confusing, and it would be better if we can have, inheriting from one of our window classes here to give us nice ability to integrate with drawing and blitting and stuff, which is important for Dylan as well, since he now has a way for us to play multiple movies in multiple windows with the partial re-implementation of the Macintosh toolbox that we have, our Mac GUI manager. And so it took a lot of work to get this going, to untangle everything and such, but I think it's working really well, and the efficiency has definitely blown me away. So later today, I'll just be working on finishing up the transitions and then working on other speed improvements. Like Chop Suey, for instance, has some really weird stuff going on that I still need to figure out. So that's just kind of what I've been doing for the past week or so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it is. I can't say based on my memory, Dirty Rex is the way that the old engine went. Yeah, and a lot of those ink modes just map directly to QuickTime calls. So if not QuickTime, QuickDraw. QuickDraw, which is the graphic engine for a direct for the Macintosh. So I think you're on the right track there, just doing it directly. And most of it was centered around 8-bit until full color came along. So I think you mentioned that you were having a separate pipeline for 8-bit versus the different color depths. So most of the code was designed for the palette-based, animation rendering. So.
Yes, definitely.
And then just looking at the code, it looks like you have the switch statement per pixel. So you have probably a room for another order of magnitude improvement if you made that, just unroll that loop and, did the tests, you can still keep the modularity, just using macros and stuff like that, just to unroll that loop. So you're not doing the test on every pixel, you can just do it once and have those bitwise things, just do it on a line or a block or whatever.
Yes, I see what you mean.
That's a minor. Once you get it working, I'm just saying this. Something you can go back and just do as a, unrolling that loop to squeeze another percentage out of the rendering.
Yes. Do you have any other questions for me, or Eugene, other stuff you think I should share about what I've been doing?
Yeah. Go on.
Quick, another question. Which movies are you using as your reference? You mentioned Spaceship Warlock. Are there others you're using?
Yes, I mentioned Chop Suey. I don't have as much experience with that one. And then some of the others, like the ones we have in our build bot, I think we're going to demonstrate later, are part of Neat Media Band as well. And some of like all the Lingo Dictionary movies too. Those were very much my bread and butter, and still are.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, before I forget, there was one other bit of good news. I found there's a media company in LA called Chaos Digital, chaosdigital.com, and they've been using Director for their work. They do the work where they do the screens for TVs, like when they're showing some kind of interface or some kind of graphic, So they do. So you've probably seen, if you watch Law and Order or House. Is it House?
Yeah.
So the life, whatever graphics, what do they call it? Sign of life thing, where you go beep 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 beep. That's done in Director. They've been using, and so they have machines that they don't upgrade. They haven't upgraded for the last 2 years because they're still trying to use Director. What they have to do, they make a very simple sequence of animations, with stills and animation, and then they deliver it as an executable to the client, because they have to be able to run it on the set and pause it, rewind it, and going into loop. So they make these very simple, stuff that's driven by the keyboard, I guess, EXEs that they send off to the client, and it's still happening today. They're still doing. They're still delivering executables using Director. So I got a kick out of that, because I thought, these guys are still active, and they're looking for a modern solution for Director, because they have to upgrade their computers at some point. But so I just wanted to share that before I forget.
That would be nice if they, for instance, give us eventually those movies for testing purposes,
so
we can make sure that they work.
Yeah, I'm going to put in the chat here. Where's the chat? Okay, here's the chat. I'll put in their website. It's because it's spelled kind of oddly. It's spelled with a K. I should have saved this before. No, sorry. I don't. No, it's okay. Chaos. No, I'll email it to next time. I don't want to waste time searching for it. But it's Chaos Digital, I believe.
That's fine.
Site. Okay. Yes. So sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah. So.
Oh, sorry. I don't think I had anything else to say for the moment.
Okay.
Now Dylan. Dylan has some progress.
What should I show first? I've been working on factories and parent scripts, all the OOP stuff. I implemented the file IO XObject, not the extra version yet. So let's see. I guess I'll go in order of implementation, which would bring factories first.
Okay.
So I got it. All right. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I see the
Yes.
4 blue balls.
All right. So this is the Simple Factory test movie from Director 2. It's not a very exciting test. You just click new object to create a factory object, which is put in control as sprite. You can drag the sprites around, click them to change their appearance.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically it. So
cool.
that's the first movie I got working when I started working on factories.
Mm-hmm.
So then after that, I started working on the file IO X object. And the one I tested that with was Spaceship Warlock. So let me just speed through the intro of this. I'm running the Windows version, which has some rendering issues right now. So, whoop. Don't know what happened there. Are you able to hear the sound from the Warlock
No.
movie?
No.
All right. Well, there's sound on my end. I implemented that.
Oh, good.
Maybe because I plan to demonstrate Spaceship Warlock as well, maybe you will hear it from my computer.
Okay. Warlock's sound is really loud. I can't really hear anything you're saying, so I'll just speed through this. All right, Istanbul City. Let's just walk a few places.
Yeah.
Then file, save movie. You can do like ASTIF, choose the file, and then load the saved movie. You can load the movie. So we can save our places now.
Okay, good. So you don't have to see that intro all the time.
Yep. And
Great.
saves all the data. So after I got file IO working, I started working on parent scripts.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, I was using the bug OOP examples from the Lingo workshop. So let's see. So here's the bug garden. Make plants, make bugs. They'll move around and eat the plants. There's some performance issues right now. Part of that is that my screen is being recorded. Part of that is just that the performance needs to be improved.
Okay. Oh, that's good to see. That brings back some memories. That's I think I wrote that movie.
I think so.
Yeah,
It's
those are my graphics too.
Oh, so I'll close this. Let's see. There's the turtle example. Okay, why can't I open that?
Turtle Bean.
I think it might be turtles. There we go. All right. Select the turtle you want to control. Forward.
Mm-hmm.
You can turn trails on. Leap trails. Turn right. So yeah, that's factories and parent scripts as well as the first X object I implemented.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I'm working on implementing movies in a window.
Okay.
So this past week I've just been doing a lot of refactoring because, as Nathaniel said before, our score was handling basically everything. It had I split its functionality into, well, the score class, a movie class, as well as a cast class.
Okay.
And now I'm working on actually implementing movies in a window now that it won't be a horrible mess, I think.
Yeah. Okay, good.
But D1 is just mentioned as, okay, I implemented factories. But I must mention that the project itself was quite sizable. because, for instance, it is not just that. We started with going with the compiled lingo out of the source code. And after that, Dylan was reworking, offloading the same information from the pre-compiled script.
Okay, so you really had to do it twice then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I had to implement it twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, that's an incredible amount of progress, and it's only been what, 4 weeks or so?
Yeah, 1 month. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's impressive. Thank you. It's good to see those old.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind, I'm going to try to I'm going to try to get in touch with Joe Sparks, was one of the original creators of Spaceship Warlock. He did so. We've talked over the months before by email. So if you don't mind, I'd like to send him this movie so you can see.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
Perhaps let me share my screen and now try to show you the. Okay, 1 second. Maybe the sound will be there.
Now, a quick question also while you're setting up. The person that's working on the right to left, does that impact the director code, or is that?
Not yet, or not directly, because later we will be able to use it because it's a generic code. But at this moment, it is regarding the our ScumVM GUI. That's okay. Let me show it. Do you see my screen now?
Yes, I see it. Yes.
Okay, great. So let me show you first Warlock. If you will be able to hear the sound, just tell me. And Mac version performs well. No, there is no sound at this moment.
Okay.
The sound starts later.
Okay.
It should be. Okay, here. Oops. Press too much. Oh, and now it's.
I'm not sure the sound is working in the Mac version yet. That uses an X object.
Exactly. Let me then do it with Windows version.
It uses X object sound.
We are not using X object. The only X object which is implemented is file IO.
Yeah.
Oops. Do you hear the sound?
No.
No. Okay. It's not showing. But anyway, what I wanted to show you in the Warlock is that particularly the work of Nathaniel with inks. Last time when we were talking about this, when I was showing it to you, yeah, still there are artifacts of updating. Wrong button. It should be back in.
Yes, that's a card for me, by the way, to make sure that we clear the screen when there's a transition that's incomplete. So I know about that issue.
Yeah. Okay, and then for instance, when we in the past were looking at the stains, it was with ugly white background because it was not properly done, and now it is there.
Good.
So the frogs which are there, yeah. I was showing last time that input is working. So what is the proper answer is like die green frog, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh.
What they say? Yeah. Not working.
Nope. Maybe it was die comma green frog.
Actually, you can say any gibberish there, except the specific list of words. Then what I wanted to show you is this marvel, and it is also work of with the. Let me probably do it a little bit different. Maybe you will hear it like this. Do you still hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Yes.
Okay. Do you still hear me?
Yes.
So maybe now it will. completely. No, sound doesn't work. But anyway, last time I was showing it, and it has had major artifacts.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, so yeah, that's a big improvement.
Yeah, and now what's going on? Something, it was working. Maybe it's a problem because sound is not there. Maybe it is locking. Let me try again. Oh, now sound. Do you hear sound?
I hear it.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Mark Cantor. Welcome to the Leap Media Bag. Oh my God, house checks look like more.
So you can see.
Click the mouse button to start the Leap Media Bag.
So works pretty nicely, I would say.
Yes.
Same thing I can try now with Warlock, the sound, but again, this is super loud, right? Do you hear it? Skipping. So this is the progress which we have.
Great.
Yes. And regarding those refactorings, the current tree, we have like much more granularity to it. So we have now seriously a big like difference between the previous version and the current one. Like for instance, at this moment, we have stage separately. We don't have inks anymore. Then cast became one thing and cast member became another thing. And this is preparation for also directory file when you have multicast.
Yeah.
And now we have the finally solved this mess with shared casts. So now they are serving independently and with the how to say overloads of the cast members. Then, of course, as we were mentioning, the bytecode was improved because now it supports factories. And then we have now xlibs, and first xlib is file IO. So with all of the methods implemented and working nicely. Everything is on GitHub, of course. And I don't remember, did I show you last time the build bot which we have?
Yeah, that's from.
Yeah.
No.
So this is the thing which we use for automated testing, and it currently has these 10, like what is that, 11 targets, like Lingo tests. This is self-written, then Journeyman project, several versions of Apartment.
Yeah. If you could put the link in the chat, so I'll add it to my.
Yes, I will do it. I'm doing it. Oops, sorry, right now. So this is the progress which we have so far.
Great.
I think stop sharing. Yeah.
Well, that's very impressive.
Yeah, I'm super impressed by these two gentlemen, which are looking at me now. Like, their work is tremendous. I was actually not even expecting you guys of having all of these achievements so fast. And what is interesting also, there is a point from Dylan, because he has experience with the further directors, is that my main concern was in regard of the Lingo compiler because of the new syntax. But Dylan rightfully pointed out that actually in the later games which are using Director, you can rarely see the actual source code of Ringo. Mostly it is precompiled. And the bytecode was not changing so dramatically between the versions. So maybe we will see, maybe it would be cheaper for us to support later directors. Also, there is another goal with Shockwave, of having that thing working. Shockwave
Oh, yeah.
I
movies.
want Shockwave.
Yeah.
Which games are you fond of in Shockwave? Dylan?
Let's see. I don't have any on this computer. I mostly like a bunch of old Cartoon Network games that I used to play, and some 3D Groove games.
3D Group. Oh yeah, did they do the billiard game?
Yeah.
3D Group. Okay, yeah.
I don't think 3D Groove is within scope, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
that really.
Can you tell your story, which you related to me, in regards of the lost game?
the
Or was it Nathan?
No.
SNL. The lost game of Shockwave, which you found out.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Ah, okay, it was not you. Who was this? I don't remember. Somebody was telling me an interesting story about
The
the lost game.
It's called a log game.
Lost. It was the lost.
Lost Game. Okay.
Yes.
I can tell that story. It was in
Right.
that blog post that I linked in our first meeting. I don't know if you read it, but I can retell it if you haven't.
Sure, yeah.
So the way I first got into director reverse engineering stuff was that I watched this YouTube video. It was about this lost game. It was just a Jimmy Neutron 3D Groove game that they had on Nick.com.
Mhm.
So some people wanted to find it. They made a YouTube video calling for people to help. I decided I want to try finding it. I found it pretty quickly, but then it was apparent that most of the game's files were missing. It was missing a ton of levels that were advertised in TV commercials. So I decided I want to figure out what's going on here. And there weren't really any good tools for doing it that at the time. They were, or at least public tools. The game was a .dcr file. You can't open those in Director easily. So I did some research, found a Lingo disassembler that this guy, Tommy Shadow, was working on. I got in contact with him, and I took over work on it. I wrote a bunch of code to turn the disassembler into a decompiler. It's called Project Arrays. I linked it to you last time. And the story basically ended there for 3 years until I came to work here.
So you did this was this pre-college or?
Yeah, pre-college.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, that's fascinating to me. I don't play games personally, so it's always interesting to me to hear what connects people with this old media. So
Yeah, I don't play a whole lot of games myself. I'm more interested in the platforms.
platforms. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
so I like Director. It's cool.
Good. Okay, well, I'll send you if I use this chat. Is that good to get in touch with everybody? The same
Yes.
chat.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll post it here, and yeah, I'll keep you abreast of what I'm trying to do, and I have it on my. I'm going to share what I recorded the demo here with Mark and Joe Sparks, the two. So I'll have some good news for them. So. Yeah. Again, thanks a lot. Thanks, Eugene. Thanks, Dylan. Thanks,
Thank you.
Daniel. And hey, how you guys holding up in with the lockdown and Corona?
I'm
Doing
fine.
Okay.
You're fine. You can work safely at home. You don't have to go out.
Yeah, I'm staying inside.
Okay. Yeah, me too. Me too. Okay. Well, stay safe. Anything else, Eugene?
No, I think that's it for now.
Okay. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah. See you.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
Okay. Have a good evening. You'll probably hear from me in the chat. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Bye.